In this video, I'm going to talk about a quote or two on focusing on imagination, because that's where you get your results from. Okay? You gotta focus on imagination. So let's get right to it. If you're ready to learn and apply, stay. If you're not ready to learn and apply, do not stay. Okay. Once you have the results, so you only get results by applying. So this video is going to be about applying the right way. Okay. And here's the quote from Neville Goddard. Quote, "Once we think in terms of influence rather than of clarity of the end desired, the effort of imagination becomes an effort of will, and the great art of imagining is perverted into tyranny." End quote. All right. So let's look at the first part. It says, once we think in terms of influence rather than of clarity of the end desired, the effort of imagination becomes an effort of will. Okay. That's the first part. And this has nothing to do with will. Everything is done on automatic pilot. Okay, automatic pilot. The last video I talked about, I liked how I said things just happen effortlessly, especially when I use more of a general affirmation versus focusing on somebody. Usually when it comes to a specific person, because I feel like when I see the specific person, I kind of feel like, oh, like an excitement or something like that. Oh, that's my specific person, and there's like a tension that I feel. But when it's more general, it just happens very effortlessly. But that's just me. I have to learn to get a little bit better with that. And just like let myself focus on imagination. Maybe that's why I'm sharing this, because it resonated with me. It's something that I have to work on as well. Okay? Or just remember. Okay? Because on other things, I just affirm it and it goes away. And I just, not it goes away, but I affirm it through an affirmation, feel the feeling of having it, focusing on the end desire, right? And then I just go on about my day. Okay, and the second part. And the great art of imagining is perverted into tyranny. Okay, this reminded me of like force, a lot of like forcing people to do things. Like, you don't really gotta force people to do things when they like you. It's just like so happens so effortlessly. Yeah, going back to like relationships and being with a special someone. It's so easy when this person likes you. It's so easy, and it goes back to your affirmations. What are you saying about this person, or what are you saying about your relationships? In the last video, I said that I do the affirmation. How do I feel now that I'm worthy of deep love and the best treatment? And so I get that, okay, and I also give it, because I'm giving deep, passionate love and good treatment. I'm getting it in return, okay. I'm surprised I didn't drink my Coke Zero earlier. It's like really full. I just brought it over here right now because I like to drink something while I'm talking. And all right, so here's what you want to do, so you don't get into the realm of tyranny. Okay, you want to focus on the great art of imagining. Okay, because everything is you pushed out. Everything is your imagination pushed out. All right. Number one tip, the one tip I want to share is focus on imagination. That's it. Always go back to imagination. You feel like you lack it, back to imagination. You feel like you got triggered, back to imagination. You start thinking about how am I going to do it? What do I need to do? Back to imagination. And then everything will start flowing to you effortlessly. It'll start like happening effortlessly. Like, for example, this example of me going to college just came to my mind. When I was incarcerated, I thought about being in college. I imagined myself being in college. Okay, after I had made a committed decision, I made a committed decision to go to college. I'm like, I swear to God, I'm going to go to college. And then I started imagining the things that I wanted to see. So I was on campus feeling very successful. Okay. And then I got the hunch to start reading books, having a dictionary, looking up every single word that I didn't understand because I knew I had to be smart and I was going to write essays. And so I did that. I would read books and write essays and write every single term that I didn't understand, write it in a notepad and like rehearse it, or just repeat it to myself. This word means this. This word means this. Like epiphany. Epiphany was something I didn't know back then. It's a sudden realization. Okay, a sudden realization, or I think it's the word anthropomorphic. It means like something that's connected to being like human-like, right? It's human-like. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah. That's like acting like talking about a tree that is moving around because of the wind, so it looks like it's dancing, So it becomes an. Then that's when you use the term. I don't know how I use it correctly, but that's the one term that I like. But going back, it was because I made a decision to go to college. I made a committed decision, and then I made a committed decision. Oh no, wait! I made a committed decision to go to college, and then as I did that, I started seeing the results because of my imagination. It went committed decision, imagination, results. Right? Actions, results. An action is also a result too. It's just part of the process to the result. But you got to think about it that way. Um, let's. I got this from John Wooden. He says a business, a team, that is the product. Okay, that's the product. The result or the service is the byproduct. All right. So, in a business, let's keep it with a team, and then we'll go to a business example. A team, the head coach, the trainers, the athletes, and the trainings, that is the product. That's the product. That product functions, operates, and you get the result, which is the winning of championships, the winning of games. If this is a great product, if it's not a great product, then it doesn't have self-confidence, preparation. Preparation from confidence comes from preparation. Then it's going to be a sucky team. It's not going to be a great team, And I want to share something about being grounded, being present, because when you're in the process and you're focusing solely on the process, you're grounded and you're present. Phil Jackson, the head coach of the Lakers for I don't know how many years, and the Chicago Bulls, he's the greatest NBA coach as of yet. He's very about being present and grounded. Okay, being present and grounded. Something so powerful about being present and grounded because you're not needy. Okay, you're not needy. You're focusing on the work. Going back to the process. The process, the team, is the product. That's where you want to stay. That's where you want to stay. Focus on the process, and then the results come. All right. For a business, the manager, the workers, the paperwork, all the computers, the office space, the energy, all that's a product. That's the product. Okay, because then the service or the product that people are getting comes from that. So this is a different angle that most people don't talk about. They think about it when you think about logically, that is just the business, right? That's just the business. That's just the team. And then the product is actual. Let's say, for example, if they do taxes, the product is the tax form, the tax preparation. If they do something else, let's say, I don't know, what's another thing that people tend to do. It's a mechanic shop. The result is the installment of a car's, something about a car. You install something in a car, right? Or you fix something. That's the product. That's the service. But no, you got to think of the product as the process. Everything, or around the process. That's the product. So you, using your imagination, imagining is the goal. The goal is to imagine. Really, really feel the experience of your imagination. Feel the relief of it. That's why earlier I said, if you feel lack and you feel frustrated, go back to imagination. Start worrying about how to do it, go back to imagination. And then get in flow throughout your day. Flow state is a state where you're like taking action, and you're so focused on the action because it's a little bit challenging that you forget about life, you forget about everything else. And I like what Wes Watson says. He says, when you are focused on helping others, you forget about yourself. You transcend the self. Okay, you transcend the self, and you're out of that negative mindset. You're not there overthinking. Back to being grounded, being present, and focusing on process, focusing on the work. So in this video, it's about going back to imagination and focusing in the imagination. That's what you need to focus on. Okay, the imagination. That's it. And then go on with your day in a state of flow, not a state of worry. Okay, but I also want to share this. Okay, this is the next thing that I want to share is that you don't have to feel good or believe at first. Okay. During the waking day, again, you don't have to feel good or believe at first during the waking day, and it will still show up. Okay, your imagination will still show up. For example, I'm going to share two stories. The first one is the story of Elmer O. Locker Jr., who met Neville Goddard. David is the host of that YouTube channel, David O. Locker Jr., and he says that he wanted to challenge Neville. He said, I'm going to do it because I'm going to prove it he's a fraud, right? And so he took up the challenge, which was every night, close your eyes. I think maybe every night, plus morning and midday, imagine yourself climbing a ladder. And then carry a little paper affirming, I will not climb a ladder. Okay, this is to prove the power of imagination, the power of imagining. And so he was like, I'm going to prove this guy wrong, whatever. So he's not even in a negative state. He's more like in a confrontational state. He's not, flow state, happy. Okay? And he ends up climbing up a ladder. He goes to his mom's house. His mom tells him, hey, help your dad who's on the roof. Climb up that ladder and help him out. That they call him over for that. He didn't know that was going to be for that, but he went up the ladder because he loves his parents, so he's gonna help them out. So that's the story. He wasn't in a positive mood. He didn't believe in imagination creates reality. But after that, he started using his imagination. And he was like me too, because he ended up manifesting a lot of intimate relationships with beautiful women. That's how I actually found. that's how I found David and his grandpa, because David has this video of him and talking to his grandpa about how he would manifest, how he met Neville Goddard. So yeah, and how he used the imagination to manifest, being with intimate with women. Okay, yes, I'm talking about sex. And his method was this. He saw two scenes. He said, first, see the woman, like you're getting on top of her, right? You guys are naked, and you're getting on top of her. You're starting to do the thing, and then finish up or a scene where you would, already be finished. So for him, it would be he was hugging the girl already. He's hugging the girl, and they had already finished having sex. And he would do that for every girl. He'd just really look at the girl's face and like, really get it detailed and see it in imagination detailed when he was doing the thing. Okay, that's how he did it. Now, the other story is of my story. I mean, I love sharing this story because it goes back to showing you don't need to believe this stuff. There was a girl when I was an undergrad who I liked, who I tried to sleep with. She always denied me, didn't let me. She didn't let me go to her apartment when I tried to come over and things like that. And so 4 years later, more or less 4 years later, I had finished my master's program. She had finished her master's, and so she wanted to catch up. So hey, let's catch up. I'm like, okay, let's catch up. And I said, oh man, I should have not said that. Like she doesn't want to do anything romantic with me. So I'm like, oh whatever, we'll just catch up. I'll have some fun. We ate some uh, soup. It's like I think a Japanese or Chinese soup. I don't even know. And we didn't even get to the restaurant. We ended up hooking up in my apartment when she came over. She had knocked on my door, and we ended up hooking up. But the whole time I didn't believe it. I did not believe it, but I was imagining. This time I didn't know about imagination. I didn't know about the power of imagination, the potential of imagination. So I just thought it was what's it called a coincidence. I thought it was a coincidence. Oh, what a coincidence. So yeah, you don't need to feel good, but you do need to focus on imagination. Okay, you do need to focus on imagination. Now with more wisdom, of course, I know that I can live a good life, be fulfilled by first and foremost filling myself up through self-validation practices like working out, doing gratitude, and being grounded, going back to being grounded, being present. So what you do is just fill in your pelvic floor. That's how you can be grounded and present and really have your own opinions and go in whichever direction that you want in your life. You're not being swayed. That's what the word grounded is so powerful. Even the word grounded, like just grounded, right? So I'm fulfilled through my gratitude and my waking up early, going to the gym. Full cup, self-validated. And then being grounded, I can lead. Okay, I can lead and go which way that I want. Really hear my conscience, understand. Like with my parents, for example, today my dad was telling me all these things about church and all that, and I'm like, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe that, Dad. And it was just more for me too. It's just more on affirmation for me. But that goes to show that my mind is not wide open. It's not like wide open to take in limiting beliefs or different beliefs. Okay. This is something very important to hear. It's just like reading a book about positive affirmations, reading a book of, or seeing a book of negative affirmations. You're feeding it into your mind, So when you're with certain people, they're feeding their affirmations to you if you allow it. When you're grounded, you can really make a decision. You can hear them. It's not impacting you. It's not triggering you. If it is, then you can just overcome the trigger, But this video is not about overcoming those triggers. And okay, so I digress from that. That has to do a lot with just inner work and just removing the belief, just removing the negative belief. Every trigger is a negative belief. Okay, success or living a life of freedom is just getting rid of beliefs, It's always about going back to being worthy. I'm worthy of this. You can say I'm worthy of everything. I'm worthy of everything. Or going back to imagination. That's why I said earlier, I don't know if I said this, but I wrote here, life can be summed up into 1 to 3 quotes. That's it, very simple. Imagination creates reality. That's it. Imagination creates reality. Yeah, simple quote, whenever you imagine something, then you move on towards the process. Just like me going to university. Started reading and writing, and it took me like 8 years. I was in school for like 8 years, got a AA, BA, master's degree. So many things. With fitness, I saw myself in shape, so I got in shape, and then I stopped using the imagination, and I got back into shape. Started using my imagination again, started doing more things, got into CrossFit, beautiful things. Started affirming I'm worthy of love. Started seeing myself sleeping with a specific person and people who, and a general just like physical, beautiful body, who I'm sleeping with, and it manifested. Okay, and I'm like, of course it manifested. I've been imagining this. Of course it is, and it's only sustained by your imagining. Okay, in the last video I shared this question, this quote. And I'm going to repeat it here again. Quote, there is no inevitable permanence in anything. Both past and present continue to exist only because they are sustained by imagining on some level or other. And a radical transformation of life is always possible by man revising the undesirable part of it. Okay. Basically, end quote. Basically saying there's nothing that's permanent. The only thing that stays in your life is what you're imagining. So if you do like something, you can just keep imagining it, keep affirming it. Although I have a few things that I've already manifested, like being with, having an intimate sexual relationship, with a fit baddie. Yeah, I already manifested, but still affirm it. So I want to keep it. I want about health. I'm perfectly healthy. You know, my body's perfect. My body's healthy. My body's beautiful, and yeah, keep affirming it. It's already there. You know, like today this morning, I saw myself in the mirror. And I was like, oh, whoa, that's a handsome man. I'm like, wow. You know, like of course I have an affirmation about being beautiful. You know, so beautiful, handsome, whatever you want to say. You know, to me, beautiful just sounded cooler than handsome. But you could put handsome in your affirmations. These are for you. Okay, I'm just a guide. I'm just like the guide to like the fountain of life, right? Because we're talking about life here. I'm just a guide. Think of me as the park guide. You know, we're going to the fountain of life, a fountain of life where you can get anything you want. I'm just guiding you there. You know, so create your affirmations as needed, as fitted for you. And you can be a little vulgar too. You know, a little vulgar in some of mine. You know, by cussing and say I'm a fucking money magnet. You know, I'm a fucking baddie magnet. You know, you just All right. Oh, here are my notes. Here are my notes. All right. So those are the two stories. If you don't need to feel good, and I'm gonna share a story of relief. Okay. So imagining is meant to bring you relief. Imagination is your savior. Okay, imagination is your savior, which is you yourself. Imagination is you, because imagination is you pushed out, your self-concept pushed out. All right, and the reason the imagination is so powerful is because it hits the subconscious mind. When you feel that feeling, every time you imagine or you say, "How do I feel now that I have this?" or just affirming, you feel it, you get into the vibration of it. You're changing your programming, your self-concept program, and it must show up. And so there's a story about a man who had a property that was being run down by the people who were renting it. So this home was getting run down, and the people were, I think he knew that they were getting drunk all the time because they were always at bars and stuff. And so he imagined himself that he was driving past. Every time he thought about this property, he imagined himself driving past it. So he was aware, he was grounded enough, aware to feel his feeling like, oh man, that place looks horrible. So he said, oh, I gotta change this. So he imagined, because he would go to Neville Gutter's lectures, so he knew how to use imagination. Closed his eyes, imagined himself driving with his wife next to the property, and he's telling his property, look at that property, it's so well cared for, you know. And he saw like he saw how he wanted to do it. Like it was nice, it looked beautiful, well cared for, everything. You know, I'm pretty sure the yard looked good, everything was trimmed, clean. There's no, you know, and they saw the little kids probably, and the family together, you know. So he would drive past the property in his imagination, telling his wife that this property is so well cared for. The people there are so awesome, and they don't. He doesn't have to worry about that property, ever. And he would do that every time he thought about the situation. Right? It came up, and yeah, he ended up getting the property well cared for, and they were paying their rent on time. Right? It was always being paid for, and he wrote Neville about the story because the woman ended up getting in a car accident, and he wanted to go to the hospital and tell the woman, hey, you know, if you never need anything, let me know. But no, he said, if I'm imagining that they're a happy family, that, you know, the property's cared for and the rent's coming in, then if I go and really start asking them for help and things like that, then I'm not being true to my imagination. So
he just, all he did was continue to affirm. And eventually, she got better. They had moved away from the home for a little bit, but the rent still kept coming in. And she came back and she was, ended up marrying and having a new husband. So she got a new husband, and the kids were well cared for, and they had an amazing property, right? They had an amazing, well cared for property. All through his imagination. Okay. He did not change it, you know. So his imaginal act became fact. So when he drove past it, he saw it well cared for, the kids cared for. So he never had to evict them, threaten them, anything like that. And all through imagination. And in his imagination, he would run it until he felt relief, okay? He would run the imaginal act until he felt the relief of it. Let me share the exact wordage. Quote, so I did nothing but my daily revision. A short while after, okay, no. Every time the thought of this property came to me, I repeated my imaginal scene. After I had been practicing this revision for some time, the woman who lived in the house had an automobile accident while she was in the hospital. Her husband disappeared. Okay, so okay, here he goes. Forgetting appearances, I began to revise the situation. In my imagination, I drove my wife past the property and said to her, isn't the yard wonderful? It's so neat and well cared for. Those people really show their love for their home. This is one trust deed we will never have to worry about. I would see the house and lot as I wanted to see it. It placed so lovely. It gave me a warm glow of pleasure. Every time the thought of this property came to me, I repeated my imaginal scene. Okay. End quote. So he felt a warm glow of pleasure, okay, in his imaginal act, okay. So it brought that relief, and eventually it brought the fact, the physical fact. Okay, it's very important to remember that the feeling in your imagination precedes manifestation. Okay, feeling precedes manifestation. Every time you are imagining and you feel it, you feel the relief of it or the pleasure of it, you have touched the subconscious mind. And when you feel that you've touched it, that's all you need to do. Not go on about your day. You can get angry, you can do whatever, but as long as you keep on imagining, it must manifest. Stay focused on the result, okay, or the imaginal act, okay. Focus on the imaginal act, and the result will come. The imaginal act is the result. It's you already having the result, and it just gets pushed out, okay. And I'm gonna finish it up with this quote, so it can help you in your journey, okay. Quote, make results and accomplishment the crucial test of true imagination. And your confidence in the power of imagination to create reality will grow gradually from your experiments with revision confronted by experience. Only by this process of experiment can you realize the potential power of your awakened and controlled imagination. End quote. Okay. So, just focus on imagination and commit to getting that result. Okay, and when you get 1, 2, 3, you start getting more and more confidence in imagination. Okay, I hope you like this one. I really have to use the restroom, so I'm gonna wrap it up. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so that you get more videos like this that will help you manifest your dream life. And if you want more help, more details, more analogies, I've written books on manifesting. I've also written books on health, self-love, self-validation. That book is actually called The Lies They Told You About Love. And click the description, click the author's link, and you'll see them all there. Okay? Till next time, peace.